Get it, boy, get it. All right, all right. I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling every single one of you out. I'm calling myself out. All this talk about dreams and drive and destiny. All these conversations with love. Inspirational quotes and motivational mantras. Bright-eyed words beaten by bold-faced lies. Voice without a vision. Noise without a mission. All talk, but no takeover. Our mouths keep moving, but our feet stay dead bolted to the ground. We reach high, but only when no one's watching. We take the stage, but only when the crowds are small. We're so afraid of the future when the only thing that should scare us is repeating the past. We like and share and snap and retweet. Positivity looks nice in our newsfeed. Potential sounds good in our profiles. But we're full of it. Gamblers without guts. Fighters with fake fists. Believers with no balls. So we don't deserve our dreams. And happiness doesn't owe us anything. If we can't bet on ourselves, then why should anyone else put any money on us? If we'd rather choose failure than chance success, we're losers anyway. Winning is going for it. Zero in the bank, nothing on hand, excuses on empty, just freaking going for it. Whatever it is, however big it becomes, no matter how scary it sounds, going for it. But instead we sit and wait and wonder and waste away this precious gift of a life. We watch our passions fall at the feet of our fears. So I'm calling us all out. I'm calling myself out. We're all talk, and I've had enough. Good morning, Character Combine. Thank you for having me today. I'm honored to be here to share this morning with you, to kick this off with you guys today. I wrote that piece 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago to this day, the day I decided to walk away from everything that I once thought was important. Money, job, title, lifestyle, things, a nice condo, a nice car, nice clothes, a nice career. I called myself out to go all in on my passion. And that passion, my passion, is to help every single one of you live yours. And now today, Besomebody is the fastest growing motivational movement in the world. We reach 5 million people in 185 countries right now. And the reason that it's growing so fast is because it's about you. It's about what you love. It's about your personal passion. And let me tell you guys, there's nothing bigger than your personal passion. And what I've learned on this journey the last 3 years is that the path towards our passion is the same for all of us. Whether you love football, soccer, basketball, volleyball, painting, skydiving, philosophy, rocket science, it doesn't matter. The path towards your passion, it's the same for all of us. The timing and the tone may be different. Our steps may not be synchronized. But the faces and the places that we have to go through are the same. They're the same. In the first place, get this slide going here in a second. The first place is the cave. The cave. Now, I learned about the cave 6 years ago. In my old life, sitting in a courtyard in Mexico City, on a warm summer day, sitting across from one of my colleagues who soon became one of my best friends. His name was Denis Osipov-Grotsky. He was a Russian guy. And we were having a familiar conversation. You know, at that time, I just turned 30. I was going through a breakup. trying to figure out what my purpose was in life. We're having a familiar conversation about this failed relationship that I had. And I was talking and I was making these excuses and I was wishing things could have been different. And I said, I wish this happened. I wish that happened. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And Dennis sat there for about 30 minutes letting me talk. And then finally he spoke up and he said, hey man, stop. He said, brother, you need to love yourself. And I had the same reaction that I'm sure every single one of us guys would have had if your boy said that to you. I was like, man, shut up. But he was like, no, bro, you need to love yourself. And I knew at that moment I felt this wave of emotion come from deep within my soul and start to pour out of my eyes. And as my eyes started to water that day, I knew at that moment that he was right. That I didn't love myself and I had no clue why. I had no clue why. And he said, you need to go deep down inside yourself and find out. And what I realized is that every single one of us has a deep, dark cave inside of us. A deep, dark cave. And just to get to the front entrance of that cave, you have to go down this long, deep, winding, dingy, dungeon-like staircase just to get to the entrance of that cave. And when you walk up to the entrance of that cave, there's this huge steel door that you got to use literally every bit of your strength to just push it and slide it open just enough to slide into that door and into that cave. And inside that cave, inside that darkness, is everything you're scared of. All your fears, all your insecurities, all your excuses, all your regrets. Anytime someone made fun of you, anytime someone said you were stupid or dumb or ugly or crazy, sits there and lives there inside that cave. And the only person that can turn the light on in that cave is you. The only person that can light the flame, to start that spark, to cascade the light on the corners and crevices of that cave is you. But once you decide to do that, then you start to see with your own eyes that your fears aren't bigger than you are. You start to accept the things about your past that you can't change. You start to change the things about yourself that you can, and you love yourself anyway. And that's when you can take the light that started in that cave and let it guide you up and out of that darkness, up on to the next part, the next place, the next phase in your journey, and that's the cliff. The cliff. And what the cliff is what you're doing right now, or what maybe someone told you to do, or what you're supposed to do. It's what you're doing right now, and way down there is what you really want to do. What you dream about doing, what you wake up in the morning thinking about, what you can't sleep at night because you're still thinking about doing it, way down there at the bottom of that cliff. And the easiest thing to do in life is to walk up here to the edge of this cliff. And the hardest thing to do is to make the leap off. And most people spend their whole lives pacing on the edge of this cliff, waiting and wishing and wondering and thinking and talking, and maybe acting like they're too cool or they got better things to do than to go do what they really love to do. The hardest thing to do is to throw yourself off. And just like the cave, the only person that can make that leap, to push you off that cliff, to go do what you're destined to do is you. Your parents can't push you off. Your coaches can't push you off. Your mentors, Jason Harper, can't push you off. Life will try to push you off. You even feel the hands, the fingernails of life in the lower part of your back trying to shove you off this cliff, down towards your passion, towards your love and your destiny. But the only person that can make that leap is you. But once you decide to just let go and go, then you're all in. And you're falling. And man, does it feel good when you start falling like that. You're like, ee-hoo! Everybody skydiving? Anybody been skydiving, bungee jumping? On that, or one of those big ass, or sorry for saying that, big roller coasters, when you get that feeling in your stomach and you're just flying down, you're like, "Ooh!" And you feel, it's like the most exhilarating feeling that you could ever feel. That moment you decide that you're gonna go do what you love for the rest of your life. You're going all in your passion. You almost hear the crowd cheering for you. You hear all these people clapping, because the best way to inspire others is to do what you love. So you have this crowd noise, you hear it, it's like the stadium's erupting. Like, what's your name? What's your name? Bryson. So you're like, the crowd start chanting. Let me hear, Bryson, Bryson, Bryson. Come on, he can't hear it. Bryson, Bryson. You're feeling like the man. You're like, woo! You're flying down, and all of a sudden you don't realize that the crowd noise starts to fade a bit. You're going faster and faster. You don't notice that the ground's coming closer because you're feeling so good, this exhilaration, this adrenaline, this emotion, and all of a sudden you look up and bam! All of a sudden you look up and you're down, face first, in the trenches. In the trenches. And you weren't expecting that. I know y'all weren't expecting that, because I wasn't expecting that. When I made the leap, when everybody thought I was so cool for giving up all these things to go after my dream, I didn't expect to land face first in the worst place possible, the trenches. And seriously, I want y'all to do this. I know some of y'all will do this with you. I want you to close your eyes right now, and I want you to picture the trenches. All right? I want you to become intimately acquainted with the trenches, because if you're going all in on your passion, the trenches are going to be your home from now on. All right? The trenches are going to be your home from now on. The longest part of your journey is going to be spent right here in the trenches. And I want you to see it and experience it, all right? I want you to see how small the sides are from one end to the other. How you got to barely squeeze by when you're in the trenches. I want you to touch the ground and see how hard it is, because this is where you're going to be sleeping. I want you to take a nice whiff of the air, because it don't smell good, but this is the best it's going to smell from here on out. It's just going to get worse. I want you to feel the air and feel how cold it is down in the trenches. Because there ain't no one down here to keep you warm. There's no snuggle buddies in the trenches. I want you to listen to how quiet it is. There are no crowds cheering for you. There is no one chanting your name in the trenches. And then I want you to look up. And I want you to see how high the walls are. These walls of these trenches. I want you to see how high they are. And then realize you're not getting out of these trenches on your own. You're not getting out of these trenches alone. Those walls are too high. You need somebody to help. You need some people to help you. You need some teammates. You need some brothers or sisters that you can go to war with. You need some people who share the same passion, that see the same vision, that believe in the same mission, to help you get up and out of these trenches. But right now you're alone. Right now you're alone in the trenches, and right now is when you get to work. Right now is when you get to work. This is when you start grinding and carving and cutting and taking care of your craft. When you start putting in your blood, sweat, and tears. When you start trying to get bigger and stronger and faster and smarter. When you pour everything in to your passion right here in the trenches, when you can't hear anything, when no one's around. Character is how hard you work when no one's watching. That's what happens in the trenches. You start to learn about yourself in the trenches. And the harder you work, the worse it starts to smell. It starts to stink in the trenches, because you're living and working and sleeping in your own sweat and your own stink and your own filth and your own tears. It gets even more quiet and more lonely in the trenches the longer you work and the harder that you work. You start to hear things in the distance, little voices, little noises. You start to sense some trouble coming around the corner. You start to feel some enemies out in the distance. And as soon as that moment where you feel like you can't take it anymore, the toil and the torment of the trenches is way too much for you to handle, that's when the enemy fire starts coming. All around you, to the left and right, over you, from behind you, side to side. You can't even move quick enough to dodge that fire. You're ducking and diving, and it won't stop. These bullets are whizzing by you. These bullets of hate and doubt and negativity. These bullets that people are projecting onto you. They're projecting their own fears onto you. They're telling you, you're not going to make it. You're not good enough. So forget what you love. Go back to what you used to do. Go back to that safe spot. Don't even try out. Don't even step up to the plate. Don't even make that big pass. Don't even go for that big catch. You're not going to make it. You don't deserve to be great. You're not good enough. And as soon as that starts to happen, if you're lucky, guys, if you're lucky at that moment, you'll turn to your left and your right. You'll find a couple people that have now joined you in the trenches. They could be teammates, they could be strangers, but I'll tell you what, they're going to become family because you're going to fight together in those trenches. And they're in it for the right reasons. They're in it for the meaning, not the money. They're in it for the fulfillment, not the fame. They're in it for the team, not the temptation. Let me tell you, you'll know right away if they're not in it for the right reasons. You all know why? Because they ain't going to make it. They won't last in the trenches if they're not in it for the right reasons. The trenches will eat them alive. Most people can't hang in the trenches. I've been in the trenches 3 years. Most people can't hang in the trenches. If you aren't in it for the right reasons, you will not make it in the trenches. You will die in the trenches. Your dream will die in the trenches if you're not in it for the right reasons, for the love of the game, the love of your teammates, the passion that you have for what you do. How many people in here have teammates in the room right now? All right, I know y'all got coaches in here, but I want you to be completely honest with me. Would you go to war, go to battle in the trenches with your teammates? Come on, I can't hear y'all. Would you go to war together? I want y'all to look around at your teammates in the room. Look in front of you, on the side of you, all around you. Do you trust that person in the trenches with you? That's good, because listen, guys, because you don't need a lot of people. This is the beautiful thing about the trenches. You don't need a lot of people. You just need the right people. Like these boys right here. These are my boys, the first 4 employees at Besomebody. We've been grinding together for 3 years. You don't need a lot of people, guys. You just need the right people. And the biggest thing, if you take anything away from what I'm talking about today, I want y'all to remember this one thing, because it's super important, is that never forget the people that believed in you when all you had was a dream. Never forget the people that believed in you and that fought with you and fought for you in those trenches. Those are the people that you're fighting for. Those are the people you're building it for. Take those people with you. And when you get those people, then those people are the ones that help and lift you outside of the trenches up until the last part of your path towards your passion. And that's the bridge. And what the bridge is this long, old, wooden, rickety bridge. This long, old, wooden, rickety bridge. And it's the last step, the last few steps between you and your passion, that mission, that championship, that division title, that goal that you've been going after. And with each step that you take on this old, wooden, rickety bridge, you have to burn the bridge behind you. You got to set fire to that bridge, guys. Because there is no turning back. Once you make it to the bridge and you're out of the trenches, there is no turning back. There is only one way. There is no plan B. If you have a plan B, you'll never execute plan A. If you have a plan B, you will never execute plan A. There is only one way, forward and toward that big crazy dream of yours, that mission, that passion. And I promise you guys, if you believe it, if you go all in on it, if you work your butt off for it, and if you don't stop, you will reach it. Thank you. I appreciate you and believe in you guys. Be somebody.